A friends with benefits arrangement versus relationships. Hey guys, welcome back to 5NothinGoodNothin.com. I am Fugit. That stands for the fittest underdog guru, using intelligent tactics. And guys, these roads are a little bumpy because our governor sucks. She ran on a platform of fixing these roads. They suck. So, anyways, for a little jumpy here, if you get a little sickness from this, then you can just listen and not watch the bumpy ride. Because with me, it's always a bumpy ride. All right, guys, here's what we got. I had a viewer ask me to do a video comparing a friends with benefits in a monogamous way relationship versus a I guess real relationship, whatever that is, because it's always defined by the two people that are in it, the terms of agreement and what works for them, right? So friends with benefits, this is my take on it, okay? I see it as, especially if it's something where the guy and the girl are basically just living their life, working on themselves, working on their careers, maybe they're doing a lot of overtime, maybe they're in school and full-time work, whatever it is, right? And they don't feel like they can give themselves completely to a relationship. So maybe they don't have like super romantic feelings for this other person, but there's attraction. So they decide that they're going to, I think the assumption and maybe the obvious conclusion is that they're sleeping together, but they don't necessarily have all of the other responsibilities that go into a relationship, right? They're not worried about going to family events together, whatever, you know the drill. And I look at that and I'm like, okay, on paper I can see how two people can say, okay, this is where I'm at in my life. It's somebody to keep me warm sometimes at night, get out my urges, and then I move on and I can think with a clear head when I'm at work or at school. The interesting thing I think that happens is that whenever we spend time with people, we tend to form bonds with them. It doesn't have to be sexual, it can just be friendships. If you look at yourself, and I've said this before, but if you look at where you are in your life right now, and you look at your dressing habits, your jokes, your food preferences, memories, whatever it is, right? The things that shaped you, some of the funny things you say, it all goes back to a village of people, right? People that have come in and out of your life over the years that have had some kind of influence on you, and you've had influence on them. I don't think we think about that a lot, but you have had an impact on people and shaped their memories and their lifestyle and their worldview for better or worse in some way, whether it's significant or whether it's minute. And that's just how it is. So I think sometimes a lot of us don't think that we really matter that much. And we feel alone, especially when we had to stay at home and, maybe just text here and there with people, maybe a phone call. Though I think phone calls are now offensive, depending on who it is in your circle. Even my family, they get a little funny about getting a phone call. Like, why couldn't you text me? So, and I get it. But, that's just sometimes how the old timers did it, was a phone call. Phone call away. But, in a relationship, it takes another level of work. And I think the best way to compare the two would be, say, somebody who is like the weekend warrior, or who has a band, and they just get together, they write some music, they do some jam sessions, and then they might play at a fair, or once in a while play at a bar or a friend's party or something like that, right? So they might play music once or twice a month, and they've got a band. But then you have a traveling musician or band that is out there pounding the pavements, doing the circuit, trying to get gigs, basically living out of a little tour bus, and they're a professional. In the world of pro wrestling where I came from, you have guys that sign contracts and travel the world and wrestle day in, day out, and that's their job. And then you have other guys that are independent wrestlers, or indie workers, we call them indie workers or indie wrestlers, and they have a 9-to-5 job or a regular job to pay their bills, and then wrestling is like their labor of love with the hope of taking it pro. Well, I look at let's call that, just for simplicity's sake, the guys who practice music and have a band but nobody knows about them except their 19 fans on Facebook, and the wrestler, the indie wrestler, those guys, it's like a hobby, right? And the guys that are making money doing it, and they're consumed with it, it's their life's work and they're successful at it, but it takes a lot more work. It's not just an afterthought or a hobby. Like some guy might play golf, right? Doesn't mean he's going to be on the PGA circuit. I look at a friends with benefits arrangement like a hobby, right? You're playing with, you're dancing around, you're just kind of tire kicking relationships. You're getting some of the perks of it and really none of the hard work that goes into it, which down the road is more fulfilling, enriching for your life. Because those days, anyone I know that's single, they always say that the hardest day of the week is Sunday, because it's like a family day, right? People are with their families, their loved ones, their significant other, and while during the week they love it, they get up in the morning, they don't have to worry about waking anybody up or somebody in their way in the bathroom, and they go to work, they do their thing. At night they can either hang out with a friend, or they can just stay home and watch TV, watch a movie, play on their computer, whatever it is, right? Eat whatever they want, not worry about anyone being in their way. And it's very self-centered in that sense. But then on Sundays, they always tell me that they feel really alone because they don't have anybody there. And then if their families live out of state, or if they've passed on, then they really feel alone, like on holidays. And usually they get like the sympathy invite to a friend's house, right? You're that strange guy that goes over to your buddy Rick from work family's house, and they're like, "Oh, who are you?" And you're like, "Oh, hi." And you kind of sit there and drink their wine and whatever, maybe make eyes at their cousin or sister, and you just go on your way. But and some people are fine with that, and I think it's their DNA. They just are fine in that environment. But other people, it's the pros and cons, right? So if you have somebody who's in your life, you love the heck out of them, everything's great in a lot of ways, but there's always those little things, right? There's those little sacrifices that are both give and take on both your sides. So at the end of the day, I think it's knowing yourself and knowing what you want long term. And if you're playing the friends with benefits game and you're that's not what you want long term, or you've been doing it for a while now and it just seems like that's your lifestyle, and you just forgot how to be in a relationship and how to commit to a person, then maybe it's time to take a step back and really just evaluate, what do you want? Think about your life, your goals for like the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Where do you see yourself? How do you want to end up? If you're perfectly fine being single, having a friend with benefits, fantastic, have at it, right? Maybe you're just wired that way, that's your DNA, that's the nature of the work you do doesn't really allow for a relationship, and you don't want to make space for a relationship, because I always think people ultimately do what they want. So if you really want a relationship, you'll go out and get a relationship. You'll find somebody that is on the same page with you, that wants to be committed. But I think a lot of times people will settle for friends with benefits because at least they're getting some of the relationship and very little, if none, of the work. So just my thoughts. I hope that helps. I feel like I just skimmed the surface on that one. But anyways, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a like, subscribe. I'd love to see my subs going up. I'd like to make a little side mad money on this channel at one point. But I never do. I love doing the videos and I love helping you guys out. In fact, I've talked to a couple of viewers recently, and it really is another fantastic way that I feel that I'm compensated, is just knowing I help people, and that it's making some kind of difference, right? Making a difference, baby. So guys, take care of yourselves. Be that undersized underdog, male or female, whatever you are, that you were born to be. You were born to be wild. Talk to you soon.